Hey guys, this video is about my in-car entertainment, as they call it. I have a radio out of a 2005 to 2007-ish Escalade that I bought. The map's out of date, but I am on highway. I'm not off-roading. Anyway, yeah, I found this radio on the on eBay for like, I think I got the radio for $75. And it's a touch screen. You know, you got all your functions. It's kind of basic for a touchscreen nav radio, but anyway, I got that, and I had to buy a Bose amplifier with it as well. I got the amp on eBay. Look, I get everything from. I got the amp for probably like $100. Maybe it was 80. It wasn't super expensive. And to get this setup working in my truck, I basically just had to drill 2 holes in the bottom of the center console, and also take the back of the console out and take all that apart. You had to drill those 2 holes because the mounting brackets, the mounting holes for the Bose amp are hidden by a metal bracket. You drill 2 holes through the metal bracket, and you get access to those bolt holes. Undo the 4 bolts holding the Bose amp, the factory Bose amp. Oh, I forgot to mention, you have to have a Bose option on your truck for this to work. This is just like the Corvette. The navigation radio, I don't think will work. Actually, this specific radio won't work without having the Bose audio equipment package. And so I ended up getting the Bose amp and the touchscreen radio, Y91 luxury nav radio. But anyway, I got the amp and the radio for less than $200. You take that amp out, you swap in the aftermarket, the Escalade amp that's needed for this radio, and you have to repin. I think there's 6 or 8 pins that you have to repin. Not terrible, but you know, not all that great either. There's a really good write-up on performancetrucks.net for this swap. I did a whole bunch of other stuff with this swap as well, but this video is specifically just for the radio. And I ended up adding the radio, do the pin changes, and you have to get a GPS antenna as well. I found one on eBay for like $20. It's not a GM unit, it's actually an aftermarket unit that happens to have the correct plug to plug into the back of the radio. Otherwise, everything is plug and play. I ended up plugging in the GPS antenna in the back that plugs into the touchscreen navigation radio, swapping that amp, rewiring, you know, just repinning like 6 to 8 pins. I think some of them you actually just tie off. But anyway, like I said, there's a very in-depth thread on performancetrucks.net. I'll include a link in the description below of adding this navigation unit to your truck. Like I've said in the past, these trucks are like Legos. You know, you can swap almost anything. Like I've got Sierra Denali headlights in the truck. I've got a Cadillac Escalade radio. I've got the Escalade mirrors with the puddle lights on it. Yeah, so this radio swap worked pretty well. The only downfall is that it's kind of archaic, and just the way you have to enter the navigation, and they haven't published a navigation disc for this truck for probably 5 to 7 years now, so it's got an out-of-date navigation map in it. But you know, we all have cell phones with Google Maps and Apple Maps, Apple Drive, whatever they're calling it. But sometimes you don't have cell phone signal, and you need a radio. You need another way to get home. This old school nav radio was a good way to go. I swapped the navigation radio into my Corvette, and my SS came with it equipped. So it's kind of like, I kind of wanted the creature comforts of the Corvette and the SS in my truck. So I went with this radio. There are aftermarket, like Pioneer, Avic, D3 or D5, whatever radios they're on now. You can go with those, but I wasn't going to spend $1,000 for a navigation radio in my truck. I did this for about 200 bucks. Like I said, the only modifications I had to do to the truck were 2 holes in the bottom of the center console, and to get to those bolts, and repin the harness, and it's really all you got to go, all you got to do. And I've had 0 issues with this radio. Like I said, I spent about 200 bucks out of pocket for this swap. But I also sold my factory radio and the factory amp. I think I sold my factory amp for like $150. So I actually made money on the amp swap by getting the used amp and selling my amp. I think I sold my radio for like $75. I met up with a guy on Craigslist, and that radio worked just fine. It had, the buttons were all screwed up, so the paint was all chipped up on them, because that happens with these trucks. But like I said, I probably broke even, or just about made a little bit of profit on doing this radio swap. So if you sell your stock parts and you have no intention of going back to the stock parts, then you might be able to do the swap for free. Here are some pictures of my nav radio and the amp. I use the Y91 luxury parts. Here on the left is the luxury amp, on the right is the factory amp. Using the factory parts, you can get this swap done pretty quickly with not a lot of effort. I didn't use the slave CD drive in my swap, I just used the head unit. For the GPS antenna, if you just Google the part number listed below, you'll find alternatives on eBay, and that's what I used on my swap. Thanks.